Sega recently unleashed a brand new trailer for Sonic Lost World, and this time they put the focus on the Wisps, both old and new. But that's not the only thing to be found in this colorful trailer, so you know what that means. We're revving up the old analysis machine to see what secrets the trailer, as well as some recently released screenshots, might be hiding. And to do so, we begin a list with the help of our resident Sonic expert, Derek Binder. Of course, please make sure to check out our previous analysis of Sonic Lost World if you haven't already, as we'll be referring back to them throughout the video. And with that, let's get started. Right off the bat, we get a reintroduction to the Deadly Six, and we've since learned their names. The red one is Zavik, blue is Zik, the pink one is Zaz, green is Xena, purple is Zor, and yellow is Zalmom. So in case you didn't notice, all of their names start with Z. And based on the threatening speech that Zavik gives to Sonic during the trailer, we're pretty confident in declaring him the leader of the Deadly Six. But that's far from the only thing to note about these villains. Each one is showcased using the in-game graphics, but if you look closely behind each of them, you can see a different world theme. What this likely means is that those themes will be the areas that you fight each of them in. And because we see Zaz in Windy Hill, just like a previous trailer, it seems pretty obvious that Zaz will be the boss of that world, which according to the E3 demo is the first world. So looking at the rest of the Deadly Six, we can see Zalmom in the desert ruins, Zik in a tropical area, Xena in a snowy region, and Zor in an area known as Silent Forest. And so that leaves only Zavik, and though he is seen in Windy Hill, we're pretty sure this is just an introductory cutscene. Instead, since he seems to be the main villain, we suspect he's the boss of the volcano area that we saw in the artwork of Lost Hex. But even more interesting is this clip that shows almost every member of the Deadly Six in the desert ruins, including Zaz. And since we know from the E3 demo that desert ruins would be the game's second world, shouldn't Zaz be defeated since he appears to be the boss of the first world? With him in the scene, it seems like the Deadly Six will stick around even after their world is completed. Maybe that's why they're the Deadly Six, they can't be stopped. Though we should mention that Zoe does seem to be missing from this scene. Could this be for a story-related reason, or is he just slightly off camera? And speaking of worlds, we finally get to see an actual desert portion of Desert Ruins. Because after the E3 demo which showcased candy-filled environments, many were wondering if Sega actually meant Desert Ruins. And a recently released screenshot appears to show a different section of that same level, at least to the identical background as any indication. But what's with the tornado? Is it just a background element, or does it factor into the gameplay in some way? You're pretty sure this level is Act 1, since the Honeycomb level and Candy level are Acts 2 and 3 respectively, according to the E3 demo. But that got us wondering, will there really only be 3 acts per world? Or will it work more like Sonic Colors where each world has 7 acts except for the final 7th one? Considering how much Sonic Lost World feels like a direct sequel to Colors, it wouldn't surprise us if this is the case. Of course, the desert-themed level wasn't the only new place shown off. For instance, it looks like Windy Hill also has a dedicated 2D level, though this one keeps the aesthetics of the 3D one, unlike the wildly shifting themes of Desert Ruins. We also get to see several brand new levels from Silent Forest. Some sections resemble the auto-run Honeycomb level, while others are 2D and set at night. And speaking of which, a recently released screenshot reveals a little bit more about this night level. Here we can see Sonic hiding behind a leafier section of the beanstalk that he's running on, while a robotic owl in the background scans the area with searchlight eyes. Could this be a stealth-based level where you have to avoid being caught? That would certainly mix things up, and it makes us wonder what other styles of gameplay Lost World might still introduce. And speaking of which, several new screens have appeared online showing off a Casino Night-inspired level that's been revealed to be part of the snowy world known as Frozen Factory. And we can see that it sticks closely to the template used in Sonic 2, complete with the return of pinball flippers, LED lights that spell out Sonic and Tails' names, and even a slot wheel with classic Sonic and Eggman icons appearing as possible outcomes. However, there is something new about this level. In the screenshot with the poker chips, we can see tokens floating near Sonic. While at first we had no idea what these tokens could be used for, Sega has since revealed that they will actually be used to open up secret passageways in the casino. It's just another example of the new gameplay mechanics that Sega wants to keep introducing in Sonic Lost World. So now that we know about a lot of the worlds, we can't help but wonder what order they and their bosses will appear in. Well, so far, it seems Sega may actually be showing them off in order of appearance. So if we're right, that means the order is Zaz in Windy Hill, Zalmom in Desert Ruins, Zor in Silent Jungle, and Xena in Frozen Factory. So that leaves only Zik and Zavik left. But considering that Zavik is likely the leader and therefore last in line, we're almost positive that Zik in the tropical area will be 5th. Though of course it's possible there might still be a 7th world in the game too for Dr. Eggman. In fact, if we take a look at the Lost Hex image again, we can see that there are in fact 7 worlds. Of course, there's the main 5 we've accounted for and the volcano, but as it turns out there's actually 2 distinct desert-looking regions. Now we know one of them is Desert Ruins, but what about the other? So maybe Zavik is actually the boss of this mysterious desert-like region, whereas Eggman might actually be at the volcano. But that's enough about the levels, let's talk about the Wisps, of which we see 3 brand new ones. First up is the Crimson Wisp, which grants Sonic the Eagle power. It enables him to fly through the sky, as well as perform a quick boost in a straight line. Next up is the Indigo Wisp, which transforms Sonic into the Indigo Asteroid. The asteroid creates a gravitational field around Sonic, breaking down everything that he comes close to into pieces that then get added to his mass, which of course gets bigger and deadlier. Finally, there's a Magenta Wisp that grants Sonic the Rhythm power. This is perhaps the most mysterious of the 3 new powers, as it only allows Sonic to bounce along notes to reach areas he presumably couldn't reach before. Though we're guessing it might require careful rhythmic timing to use. His musical note form also flips upside down and to the side for some unknown reason. Is it just a little graphical touch? But those aren't the only Wisps in Lost World. The new trailer confirmed that both the yellow and orange ones would be joining the previously seen cyan, which means that the drill, rocket, and laser abilities are all back. And as far as we could tell from the trailer, they all seem to work the exact same, though activating them may be a bit different with the gamepad. Because as we saw at E3, the laser ability could be adjusted using the gamepad's touchscreen before flicking forward to send Sonic speeding along. So maybe the drill and rocket powers might be handled similarly too. Okay, we're almost done here, but as usual, there's still just a few final details we wanted to point out. For one, rail grinding is back, which isn't a big surprise since it's been in every Sonic game since its introduction in Sonic Adventure 2, but this is the first time we've seen it in Lost World. And secondly, we have even more returning enemies. First up are the Boos from Sonic Adventure 2. While they're never a constant presence in that game, it seems like they'll act more like a stage hazard in Lost World. Then, if we take a look at the casino pictures again, we can see the return of Kralls, originally from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, as well as an Egg Prawn, who originated in Sonic Heroes and has been seen in almost every 3D Sonic game since. Finally, if you freeze the Silent Forest clip right here, we can just barely make out a chicken-type enemy in the background that appears to be an updated version of the Clucker. But the trailer and screenshots don't just show off returning enemies, as we also get a look at even more new ones too. Such as in the desert, where we find these towering sandworms that spit out projectiles in a circular formation. Then there's this odd underground creature, complete with a tail seemingly made out of bumpers. And if you take a look at the Silent Forest clip again and repeat this scene in slow motion, you'll spot a crocodile-looking creature pop up out of nowhere. But based on this screenshot, it looks like they'll emerge from muddy areas. Finally, there's this large cactus dude. At first we thought he might be a mini-boss, but if we look in the background, we can see what appears to be another one. So we think he may actually have to time your movement in order to pass through the gaps in these guys' bodies as they travel in a circle. Alright, and that covers it for all the new and returning enemies. Or does it? So we already know Dr. Eggman is in the game according to the game's official storyline, but we haven't seen him in the flesh at all during actual gameplay. But that doesn't mean he's not there. Let's take a look at the scene again. Do you see it? That large gray floating thing behind Zaz is actually Eggman's Eggmobile. Check it out, it looks just like the one in Sonic Unleashed, right down to the center headlight and the close cover just right of that. Yep, it seems Dr. Eggman to be working very closely with the Deadly Six indeed. And with that, we've dug up everything we could find in the Colors trailer for Sonic Lost World. And like always, let us know if we missed anything by posting in the comments. If you liked our analysis, please make sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at GameXplain. There are even super easy to click links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and make sure to keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Sonic Lost World and other things gaming too.